we are going to see how to set the settings for drawing. Like before you start drawing, you need to do some settings for the drawing. For the that settings will be available in the menu. So here just click here and show menu bar, and that drafting settings will be available in this tools menu. Click on this, you will get a drafting settings here. Just click on the drafting settings and a dialog box will appear, and in this dialog box you can see the many settings here. Here the snap and grid. So the snap and grid settings, you can set it for snap on or off and grid on or off. For the drawing you can set it here, and this F9, you can press F9 button to toggle between on and off, that is snap on and snap off. You just press the function key F9 and you will be toggled between on and off, snap on and snap off. And if you press the function key F7, so that will toggle grid on and grid off. Grid on and grid off. Grid lines are nothing but in the graph sheets you can see that lines. So those are called as grid lines, horizontal and vertical lines forming equal measurements, so that we can easily draw the drawing with the help of those grid lines. So that we can have a reference line also. We can make it as a reference line also for that grid lines to draw the drawings. And in this polar tracking, so we can track our cursor in polar, like we have an in polar angle setting here. Is increment angle is a 90 degree. With the 90 degree we can track the or mouse cursor or whatever the drawing cursor or crosshairs, so that we can easily track. In this object snap, so if you are drawing any line or a circle or anything, in that we can have a reference point, like at the end of that particular line. So this, if that square box appears, so that is the end point of that line, and the midpoint will be represented with a triangle icon, and the center is represented with a small circle. The geometric center also, geometrical center is shown as a small circle, and the node, quadrant, intersection, any of the lines or two lines are intersecting, and that will be shown in the cross marks or X mark. And the extension, perpendicular, tangent, nearest, apparent, intersection, parallel. So this parallel will indicate whenever we are drawing the line parallel to the any other line or any other object, that will show this parallel. So this will be the settings for object snap. Whatever you want, you can select it just by clicking this tick mark on this one. Like you can select any of the, or you can select all, or whatever you want to specifying, so that only you can select it by just clicking on that tick box. Okay, here the next one is the 3D object snap. And this 3D object snap, same as this object snap, this will appear in 3D mode. And the dynamic input, this is the one of the important thing in the CAD. While we drawing this, inputting the data near the cursor, you can see in this pointer input, so that will be inputting the data beside the pointer. Whenever that shows, you can just directly enter the value near that pointer, and you can see that here the dimension input, and here the dynamic prompts. In that dynamic prompts will be like specify the next point, specify the angle, or select the objects, like that will be displayed beside the cursor. And here some other settings are there: quick properties, selection, cycling, and these are some other options. Okay, these are the some drafting settings you need to set it before drawing, and after setting this you can start the drawing. And before starting the drawing, one more thing you need to remember, that you need to set a units. Units is nothing but the measurement unit, in which unit you are going to measure it. For that setting the units, you need to type the command for that setting the units in command window, or you just type here itself, just type units and just press enter, and the dialog box will appear. And in this, the type of that particular unit will be in decimal. Just select for the decimal, and then here this insertion scale, so that scale you can just select it as a millimeters. You just click on that arrow mark and drop down menu, and under that drop down menu just select the millimeters and then press or select OK. And then after setting the units, you need to set the drawing limits. Here the drawing limits is nothing but if you want to draw drawing in a A4 sheet or A3 sheet or any other size of the papers or any other size of the thing, then you have to set the drawing limits. Here for setting the drawing limits, you need to enter the command limits limits and then press enter, and after that you need to specify the lower left corner and upper right corner. So here I'm going to set it for A4 size paper. This A4 size paper in a landscape orientation. For this landscape orientation, this lower left corner will be 0, 0 and press enter, and upper right corner will be 297 mm, 210 mm, and press enter. And after that you can start drawing. Before that you can set the drawing sheet, so that whatever the sheet appears, that A4 sheet can be appeared in this drawing area. To appear that drawing area, you need to zoom it. Press Z, so that will automatically select that zoom. That's a shortcut key for the zoom, and enter. And here in the zoom you can see so many other options available: all, center, dynamic, extents, previous, scale, window, object. For that you need to select all. Just type A and enter, and now you are all set to the A4 limits, and you can draw in this limits and whatever the drawn in this limits, so that you can easily get the plot.